Hey everybody, welcome to Driving with John. This is part 2. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you haven't seen part 1, you need to go watch the last video. Otherwise, this video will spoil that one and then you won't understand any of it. So go watch the other video if you haven't yet. Part 1. This is now part 2. It came out a couple of days ago, so go check it out. Alright guys, let's get started with part 2. So, as we know, Bob was working for a carrier that was not treating him right, not paying him right, not doing the right things at all. So he decided he was looking for another job. And so what he did is he went online and started looking. He found a really good company that paid well, that had great reviews. He talked to a few drivers. They really loved the company, and he was fired up to go there. So he got all approved. He got all his paperwork in, and he was like, yes, things are going to start turning around and I can get my life going back in the right direction, because it's been a long, 8 months or so. It's crazy 8 months. So, the only thing he had left to do is he had to go get his physical at a place called Concentra. Bob was going to Concentra to get a physical. By the way, it's raining right now outside, so if you hear any kind of weird noises, it's probably the rain, because it's real loud on the roofs of these trucks. So, all right, back to the story. So he's on his way to Concentra. He gets there. He goes through the whole thing with Concentra. It was, normal. We've all done it. We all know how it works. You get the DOT physical. You got to go pee in a cup. You do at our hair places. You got to do hair samples. This one had a little bit of a different thing. You had to do a physical, like to prove that you were in shape. He passed all of that with no problem at all. But there was one problem. The doctor, it was a female doctor, she looked at him and she said, you know what? How old are you? Bob. Okay, not Bob, me. I said, I'm 51. Why? And she's like, well, 51, you're overweight. And then she measured my neck and she said, oh, you have 3 symptoms, or three warning signs that you might have sleep apnea. So she asked me a bunch of questions and I got all of them right. I don't have, at that point I didn't think I had sleep apnea, because, I had no symptoms at all, ever, And so she said, well, unfortunately, DOT now requires us to send you for a sleep test. I can only give you a 3-month DOT card. I already had a 2-year DOT card at that point, but the company I was going to required me to go renew it so that they would hire me. So I called them up and they're like, oh no, I'm sorry, we require a year. So if you can't get a year, we can't hire you. And I said, look, I just got to go take this sleep test and I'll pass it. It won't be a problem. And, I'll get back to you in a few days and we'll get this figured out. And they're like, okay, no problem. We'll hold the spot for you. You're good. Don't worry about it. So a couple days goes by. Sleep test comes in the mail. It's a ring, like my wedding band. It's a ring. Put it on your finger. Go to sleep at night. So I slept that night. Didn't sleep real great, but I slept that night. And so, next day I get up and I put it back in its little case and I mail it back to them. And 3 or 4 days later, comes back, and guess what? I have sleep apnea. With no symptoms, no issues, no... What? I swear they're making this up, right? Like, I don't have sleep apnea. If you haven't done it yet, go down and hit that subscribe. Give me a thumbs up and make sure that you share this video out to all of your friends. One last thing, if you're not a member, you should join today, because I'm telling you, there are some great benefits to it. If you're bronze level, you get a cool little badge and I will respond to your comments. That's true for all the levels. The silver level, you have access to videos that I upload 4 to 5 days early. And the same with the gold level. But the gold level, you get me and my expertise at making a short video. So you get the gold level and you send me a clip and I will make a clip out of it and I will give you a shout out on my channel, for your channel, or for your business, or even if you just want to wish somebody happy birthday, whatever. That's a gold membership. So, and half of those proceeds go to help people that are in need. All right, let's get back to the video. So, so the diagnosis of sleep apnea, I failed the test. So, what? I don't have any issues. I mean, my wife says I snore now and then. That's it. I don't fall asleep when I'm driving. I don't fall asleep in awkward places. I don't feel tired. I don't feel exhausted. It just makes no sense. But they say I have it. So when I got the results, I called the doctor back up and I'm like, I must not have slept well that night. I need to retake it because I'm not going to be able to get this job if I don't pass this test. So they sent me another ring, went through the whole process again. Meanwhile, I'm working in between all of this too. And so the test comes back again. Yep, sleep apnea. Now, I'll preface what I'm about to say by, if you go online and look, those ring tests that you put on your finger, they're only between 40 and 60% accurate. They're not very accurate, okay? I still not sure that I have sleep apnea. But as having a CDL, once you've been diagnosed, you have to follow a certain routine. So that's what I did. I went in to the place to get my CPAP machine, is what it's called. Here, I'll show you what it looks like. That is what a CPAP machine looks like. Has water in it. Has air hose in the back. Plug in. There you go. So that's what a CPAP machine looks like. Obviously, I have one. But here's the credit. As I learned last year, anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Actually, that was this year. So what happened was I went to go get my CPAP, and guess what? It was on back order for 6 months. 6 months. So I couldn't get my CPAP machine. And guess what? You only have a 90-day card. And you have to be on a CPAP for 90 days to show that you can use it and that you use it regularly before they'll give you a year card. Which means I couldn't get this job because I couldn't get a CPAP. Whole mess blown up in my face. So I went back to work for the bad guy again. Oh my goodness, it was so horrible. So I went back to work for the bad guy again. Worked there 2 weeks. And he went out of business. I came back from running a load. He said, I don't have a load for you right this second. Go home, call me in the morning, and I'll let you know what I got for you. I said, all right. So I went home, went to bed that night, woke up the next morning to a text message that says, I'm going out of business. Come get your stuff out of my truck. Okay. Granted, I did a lot of things wrong to put myself in this position, but there were a lot of things that happened that I had no control over. I'm just saying. So, long story short, if that's even possible to have a long story be short. So he went out of business and I got desperate. I didn't know what to do. So I went to my doctor. I went to a different doctor, which was my actual regular doctor, not the one I went to for the sleep test. And I told her everything that was going on. She said what she was going to do for me was actually an ingenious idea. So what she did was she wrote me a letter. She asked me a bunch of questions, and they were simple questions like, do you fall asleep at red lights? Do you ever feel like you can't drive because you're too tired? Do you feel tired after you eat? Really? Who doesn't feel tired after they eat? I mean, not every day, but like you eat Thanksgiving dinner, what do? You go to sleep. That's normal. But whatever. Don't get me started. So I didn't know what to do. And so I went to her and she asked me all these questions and she said, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. The other doctor said that if I will write you a letter saying that I don't believe it's a health risk or a risk to anybody's safety, that it'll give you like a window that you can go out and drive until the CPAP comes in. I'm like, okay. I mean, I guess that'll work. Let's see if they'll take it. So she wrote me this awesome letter, basically said, what I said, and they took it. So I got my year card and I went back to the company and I called them up and I was all excited and I was like, put me to work. And they said, oh, we don't have any positions in your state anymore. How do you not feel defeated after that? You know what I mean? So I said to the guy, I said, look, I've been through hell and back. And I'm not taking no for an answer. Call your boss and tell your boss the situation. Tell her how hard I worked. It's been over a month, almost a month and a half. I've worked real hard to get into your company because I like your company. I like the way you run. I've looked over all your reviews. I've talked to a few of your drivers, and I know you're a good company. So get me in there one way or another. I gotta get to work. He said, well, I'll see what I can do, but I've never heard them ever doing this for anybody. So we hung up the phone, and I'm not gonna lie. It's been the worst year of my life. So what am I gonna do? Like, I don't know what to do. I'm looking for another job, but my mind and my heart wasn't in it at that point. I was defeated, and I was so close to just giving it up. And about 2 hours goes by, and I'm looking online for jobs and talking to my wife. And I'll be honest, I've never been a person that ever gets depressed. I was darn close. I mean, I felt like my world was coming in, falling down real quick. Because, along with all of everything I've told you, you got to realize not a lot of money coming in. I got bills to pay. I already lost the new car that I had gotten. We lost the bigger place that we had gotten. We moved into a smaller apartment. And even that was too much for us to handle financially. So it was just a bad situation, okay? And granted, I did a lot of things wrong that put me in that situation, not blaming anybody else. But, sometimes I tell my kids, life isn't fair. It's really not fair. Because I was ready to go to work and willing to go to work, and no. So, about 2 hours goes by, and I'm, looking for jobs and kind of defeated. I don't know how else to put it. I was kind of defeated. And so I get a text message. My phone goes, ding, and my wife was sitting next to me, and I pick up my phone and I look at it, and it's the recruiter. And he says, I talked to my bosses, and I have some good news for you. They opened one position just for you, and you're already approved, and you can be at orientation on Monday. And this was like on a Thursday. I was like, hallelujah, I get a break. So that's the end of the story, guys. That was a long 2-part story, but it was a crazy story. But hang on one second. I got one more thing to tell you. I really appreciate you watching. All my driving buddies, keep your rubber on the road. Keep those tires turning, stay right side up. All my non-trucking buddies, hey, I really appreciate you watching. Your support has been awesome. Make sure that you share this video out. And remember, truckers are people too with sleep apnea. See you on the next video. Driving with John is coming through.